Hey gang, so this is the last page of that review. I didn't have a video where I did all of them, so let me do this other one. So this is 12E, and this is our literal equations where we're solving for y on these. So we're going to start off, we're going to draw our line, and we're going to make this our y side, and this the x side. So I'm going to move the x. Remember, I talked about how you move the x and you divide the y. Move the x, divide the y. So I'm going to leave y right here. I'm not going to move it. What I'm solving for, I leave put. So I'm going to subtract 2x, because if I subtract 2x minus 2x, it cancels out. But if I subtract it on the left, I have to subtract it on the right. Now, I don't put it right under it because these are different families. This is a number family. This is the x family. So I'm going to be left with a positive y, so y equals, and I usually put the variable first. So x is first, so it's going to be negative 2x. And the 8, it doesn't have a number in front, or like a sign in front of it, so it's understood that it's positive, so it's plus 8. And that's as far as I can go. Okay, let's solve this next one for y. Move the x, divide the y. So to move the x, I'm going to start with that 6x. It's a positive 6x. I want it to be a 0. I want it to like go away. If I subtract 6x from 6x, they cancel out. But if I subtract it over here, I have to come over here and subtract it on the other side. Okay, so I've got 3y, and it's positive 3y, equals, I'm going to put the variable first. It's a negative 6x and a positive 15. Move the x, check. Divide the y. Well, on the y I have a 3, so I'm going to divide every single thing by 3. So that's going to give me y equals negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2x. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Y is alone. I am done. Okay. Now, I've done 2 pretty quick. You pause your video, see if you can get this one started, and then see how far you can get before you have to have me work it. Pause your video. All right. I'm going to hippity-hoppity distributive property. 3 times x will give me 3x. 3 times 2 will give me 6. And I still have that y. I have a minus 8 equals 2. 8's on the outside of the parentheses, so it does not get affected by that 3. I've got 3 terms over here, but when I look, there is not anything that can go together. So I'm just stuck leaving it like it is. Move the x, divide the y. Well, I have to move the x, but I also have to move this 8. So I think I'm going to make the 8 go away first. If I add 8, negative 8 plus 8 would cancel out, right? But if I add 8 over here, I need to add 8 over here. So that'll give me 10. Still going to have 3x plus 6y. So let's make the x go away. If we subtract 3x, x goes away. But if I subtract it over here, I need to subtract it over here. So 6y. I'm going to put the variable first, so that's a negative 3x and a positive 10. I'm going to divide by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6. So y equals negative 3 over 6. That's 1/2. It is negative, so it's going to be negative 1/2 x. 10 divided by 6. I'm just going to reduce that. It'll be a positive. 2 goes into that 5. 2 goes into that 3. It's not the greatest looking problem, but it is what it is. There we go. Remember, you can go back and watch me work any of these that you struggled with. All right, so move the x, divide the y. Well, when I look, I see 3 terms, but there is not anything going together. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to get this 12 out of here. That'll make it go away. I subtracted 12 there, so I'm going to subtract 12 here. 3x. Negative 9, negative 12 will be negative 21. On the y side, I have an x. If I subtract 3x from both sides, negative 7y equals 2x minus 21. Move the x, divide the y. So y equals 2 divided by negative 7 will be negative 2 over 7. I still have the x. Negative and a negative will make a positive. 21 divided by 7 will be 3. Let's solve this for b. It's kind of like the x and the y. I'm going to move the a. I can't have a b with a number in the front, so I need to divide by that 2. So b equals negative 3 over 2. I could change it to 1.5 if I wanted to, plus 5. Alright, now let's take a look at number 22. Josie is confused. Sometimes her answer is a number and sometimes her answer is another equation. Explain to her how you know your answer will be an equation, and move this over here, how will be an equation, and when your answer will be a number. Use examples to help. Okay. Solving, well, let's talk about it. When you solve like those first problems, those were multi-step equations. How many variables were in there? It was usually just an x or an n or a y, something like that. Let me give you an example. When you solve these right here, these were just x's, right? And we got one number. We got like x equals, 10 or whatever. The difference was when we solved these, nope, not those. When we solved these, we got variables, equations. So the difference was how many variables. So when there is only one variable, you get one answer. But when there are multiple variables, you get equation answers.